Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rory and today I'm going to talk to you about the numbers behind our decision to invest in a Bali villa. Now, right from the start, this isn't financial advice. I'm not recommending anybody do anything with their own money without doing their own research first, but I want to go through the research that I did to kind of show you how I came to the decision that Bali was a really good place to invest in. So as you probably know, with the current state of the world and investing, everything's pretty much going down. So it's really hard to find a place to park your money that's actually going to have a positive growth return, especially at the moment. And from my research, buying a Bali villa is one of the few places where not only are you going to get a positive growth return during a recession, but it's also going to be a really big positive growth return. And I'll show you the numbers later on in the video to explain how I got to that. But first of all, I want to talk to you about why we chose to invest in Bali. The number one reason is it's actually incredibly easy as a foreigner to build in Bali. If you look at my other video in the past, I'll show you the simple steps to start with in terms of finding land and builders or even just buying a pre-made villa. You do need to remember that it is on long-term leasehold rather than a freehold, which you're probably used to in a Western country. But our villa we're going to have for 30 years with a guaranteed renewal rate for another 30 years. So that's 60 years of owning a villa. I'm 35 now, so you can imagine 60 years time, I'm probably not going to really care what happens to the villa anymore. So the next reason is the location. Obviously, Bali is an amazing tropical paradise full of pretty much anything that you could imagine, like everything from food, culture, wildlife, scenery. It's got pretty much everything. It's also really close to us being in Australia. It's only a short flight from Australia, so it means that we can go across and enjoy the villa as well while we're on holidays. And also it's a place that a lot of different nationalities do go to holiday as well. In fact, about 60% of Bali's entire GDP is made up from tourism, and the Balinese government and their officials actually estimate that Bali tourism numbers are going to double from pre-COVID numbers by 2025. So that means there's a huge opportunity because at the moment it can actually be difficult to find good accommodation during the peak seasons. Sometimes there's not a whole lot of options out there. So having something like a Bali villa that is available to people on Airbnb, short-term rental, it's going to be like a really good idea for us, we think. The other thing is the weather. Obviously, Bali has really good weather all year round. They are in the tropics, so they do kind of split into a wet season and a dry season, but even their wet season is very tolerable. And people chasing warm weather are going to be going and visiting Bali all year round. Yeah, and finally, the future retirement opportunities. So our plan is not to work forever until we're old and grey. We want to retire probably in our 40s somewhere, and the best way to do that is actually to retire to a country where your dollar goes further. So if we can build up enough money in investments and things like that between now and our mid-40s, then it means that we can move to our Bali villa then and live at a much lower cost of living than what we're used to in Australia. For those of you who don't know, Australia is quite an expensive country to live in. We're definitely one of the higher cost of living places in the world, not compared to some of those Central European countries, but we do definitely have a very high cost of living. But also, flip side of that is we do get paid a lot better than a lot of other countries as well. But it means that earning that money, we can then, when we're in our mid-40s, we can go and retire somewhere like Bali. And having this Bali villa, as I'll show you later on with the figures, it actually gives us a bit of a boost in terms of being able to retire early as well. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about our villa. If you've seen our previous video, you know that we leased some land in Bingan in the south of Bali, and we planned to build our villa on that, but I haven't made an update video since then, so I'll just give you a quick overview of what the villa is going to look like, as well as some pictures and things like that. So we're building a 2-bedroom, 2-story villa designed with entertaining and relaxing in mind, right in the heart of Bingan. It's just a short 10-minute walk from the beach, cafes, restaurants, and we're using really high-end materials and doing it with some high-end furnishings within it so that we can appeal to that top end of the market. Our plan is definitely to put it on Airbnb as a short-term rental once it's complete. So we definitely wanted to make sure that we were using all those high-end materials to attract those higher-end clients. At the moment, the state of the villa at the moment is that they've basically put the ground floor in, they're digging out the pool, and they're working on the 2nd-story formwork at the moment. We've been sent a few videos and photos from our developer to show the update, and yeah, we're really excited to see how it goes. So yeah, now that I've talked about what we're going to be building, let's talk about the research behind why I decided to build this particular villa. Now, the software that I use, or the website that I use to do my research, is a website called AirDNA. Now, AirDNA is a subscription-based service that you can basically narrow down to a particular location, and you can get all of the Airbnb data from that area. Everything from rates, occupancy, revenues, seasonality. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do in there. But what I'll do is I'll actually jump into the computer now and I'll show you exactly the research that I did, as well as a spreadsheet that I've made to show basically the numbers behind our decision to invest in a Bali Villa. So yeah, when you open up AirDNA, this is the main screen that you get. And as you can see, I mean, this is the whole of Bali here. And we're focusing down on the area of the Bukit Peninsula, which is basically the Bingan Uluwatu area. You can see everything from studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, right up to 5 bedroom plus. Now, because we're building a 2 bedroom unit, I'm only going to focus on the 2 bedroom units. I'm only also going to focus on actual Airbnb like villas, which is this one here. And as you can see, there is quite a few of them around, and as you scroll over them, you can see their occupancy rates as well as their average daily rates. These are all in US dollars as well. So yeah, let's have a look at the average rates to start with. So I'll go over here, and there's a whole bunch of different options that you can do. So I've chosen the 2 bedroom option. I've also chosen the luxury end of the market because we are focusing our villa to be that luxury end of the market. I want to make sure that we are looking only at the data of that, and we're excluding all of the budget and economy type accommodations, of which there is still a lot in Bali. You can still go and you can still travel really cheap if that's what you want to do. But that's not what we're focusing on with our villa. So we've got the luxury end of the market, and we're looking at average daily rates over a long period of time. We're excluding pretty much everything before June 2022 because there is a lot of like ups and downs due to COVID, with borders opening and shutting and that sort of thing. So pretty much from June 2022 onwards, we can get a really good idea of the average daily rate. And you can see that it's sitting around about like 290, 278, 301, drops to 257, then it goes back up to 290. And yeah, if you wanted to break that down even more and you wanted to like look at the upscale and mid-scale ones as well, let's just look at the upscale and luxury. So yeah, when you break that down, you can actually see the average daily price by tier. So you can see that the difference between luxury and upscale is quite significant. So that's why we're like focusing really on the luxury end of the market. So yeah, let's look at that from June 292, 278, 301, 257. So if we say conservatively that we could rent it out for $250 a night, let's just be conservative and say that. Then let's look at the occupancy rate. So with our occupancy, we can split it into the 90th percentile, the 75th percentile, and the 50th percentile. So we can comfortably assume that we're going to be above the 75th percentile just because of the type of villa that we're going to be building. So when you look at this, it's going to be around like 94%, 96%, 97%. And if you're looking at the 90th percentile, you're actually at 100%. So you can we can safely be conservative and say that we're going to have about a 90% occupancy rate. There's a ton of other tools within AirDNA that you can use, and a lot of them are a lot more useful once you've actually got the villa up and running and you're actually renting it out. So you can look at your revenue, you can see the seasonality and see when the high seasons are. Obviously during COVID that was quite low, and then since COVID it's picked up and it's pretty much high season all the time. But basically the ones that we're interested in when we're looking at potential return on investment is going to be the rates and the actual nightly rate and the occupancy rate. So they're the two things I can use to calculate what our return on investment is actually going to be. So yeah, from here, let's jump into this spreadsheet that I've made. So this is for our villa. The total cost for our villa, including pretty much everything from the land, building, all of the furniture, is going to cost us about 200,000 US dollars, give or take. We don't know exactly how much the furniture is going to cost us yet, but we've made an estimate with that. Take our nightly average from before, which is going to be $250 a night. That's what we just found out from our DNA. A property management fee. So most of the places when we're renting it through Airbnb, we're not going to be wanting to manage it ourselves. We're going to be getting a property manager to be looking after it for us. And that's where this 20% comes in. That covers all of the fees involved with actually managing the property, as well as the staff to clean it and all of that sort of thing. You can pay more than that, you can pay less than that, but 20% is kind of a good middle ground. Then down here I've got different occupancy rates. So I've got 60, 70, 80 and 90%. I've got the gross revenue, which is basically 60% of 365 multiplied by the nightly average. And that gets, so the gross revenue will be $54,000 a year at 60%, right up to $82,000 a year at 90%. Then we look at the property management, which is basically 20% of this, and that leaves us with our annual profit. And as you can see, the annual profit at 90% on a $200,000 house is going to be about $65,700. Now, obviously, there's going to be taxes and things that I need to pay on top of that, but that's going to be varying depending on where you live, as well as year on year, and you can work that sort of thing out yourself later on. So yeah, now let's go down to, and then basically this is just split up into monthly. So so at 90%, your monthly profit is going to be about just under $5,500 US just in profit. So then let's go down to the estimated return. So as we said before, we reckon that it's going to be at 90%. So this is year zero. This is basically when we open the villa. So obviously we haven't had any income yet, so there's no return, but we do know that we can sell the villa for more than what we built it for. So based on the current market, we could sell the villa immediately the moment we open it for $250,000. That would give us a profit of $50,000. So then year one, the income is going to be that $65,700. Now that's a return of 32.85% on our $200,000 investment, which is insane. Even if it was half that at like 16%, that would still be insane. So as you can see, this is one of the main reasons why we've chosen to invest in Bali. But it's not just that return profit. You do get capital growth within the villa as well, especially in the first 10 years. Because it is a leasehold, after 10 years, you normally get capital depreciation. So it will go down after that time until you renew the lease, in which case it will go back up again. So this is why I'm only looking at these first 10 years to look at our total profit over the time. So we've got 32% return. That means that total so far, we've made $65,700 on rent. The sell price is going to be about 5% higher than this $250,000, so $262, which means that our total profit after 1 year of owning it is $128,200. That's profit. So that means that we're like already after 1 year, we've made $128,000. If you look down year on year, after 2 years, if we can keep renting it out for the same amount, and then your sell price goes up by another 5%, as it tends to do year on year in Bali, then we've made $207,000 profit. And then if you look after 10 years, assuming we're still being able to rent it out for the same amount, it's still that 32% investment. We've still got that so by that point in rent, we've made $591,000. The appreciation of selling the villa has gone up year on year as well. So at that point, we've made $779,000 US profit. So you can see from this, after 2 years, like we should break even. If you're looking purely from the rent point of view, after 3 years, we should break even. So yeah, they're the figures and the numbers behind why we decided to invest in Bali. I hope you guys found that useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. It's obviously my research, so definitely do your own research before you go jumping into something like this. It's not something to be taken lightly. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of backwards and forwards with different people to make sure that you're doing the right things. And I highly recommend getting independent lawyers and that sort of thing to look into it as well as you're doing it. But yeah, it can be a lot of fun. We're really excited. We're actually heading back over there at Christmas time. We're going to go see how the villa is going. I'll definitely do another update video on the actual villa at that point in time. But yeah, in the meantime, if there's any other videos that you'd like me to make regarding the villa, please let me know in a comment below. I'm happy to like try to help everybody along in this journey if that's what you want to do. I know that a few people have already contacted me, and I've put them in contact with different people in Bali, and I know at least a couple of them have now bought land and they've started the process themselves. So good on you guys. I hope it goes really well for you. But yeah, in the meantime, if I hope you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I know that everybody says it, but it actually does help the channel grow. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.